already worked on, set our rulers and guides up, and we're going to work on some scaling objects, which is going to be kind of fun. Alright, so what we're going to do is, I already have my transform panel here, we're going to use that quite a bit. We're going to go to Artboard 1. And we're going to select this kind of green shape here. And we're going to pull up the transform panel. It could be up there. I had it nested in here. I placed it there in the last video. I want to make sure the scale and strokes and effects button is checked. And this means when we enlarge a button, it kind of keeps things in proportions as opposed to keeping like a giant stroke. When we scale down, it kind of overeats the artwork. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an Option or Alt drag, which we got familiar with the last week. We're going to actually drag this over to Artboard 1. So I'm doing an Option drag, which kind of makes a copy and drags it to the next page. And when it's over here, we need to kind of set it in position. Right there, and it's kind of the artwork is way bigger, which we're going to adjust this. So we're going to zoom over here, and we're going to do hide edges. So you can go View, Hide Edges, or you can do a Command H or Control H. And that kind of takes all those anchor points and hides them, which can get kind of confusing when we look at it. And we're going to kind of rescale it. So we're going to open the Scale tool in our Tools panel. And our Scale tool is here, keyboard shortcut S. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to double click the icon in our Tools panel. If you found that you double click the icons, the Tools panel opens up another panel for us to adjust. And here we go, and we're going to change that uniform scale from 100% to 50. Make sure Scale, Strokes, and Effects is checked, and click OK. And it's resized our artwork. I'm going to go back to our Selection tool, and I can kind of resize it whenever I need it to be. Maybe nest it right there. And what we're going to do is make sure that anchor point, and if your selection isn't there, you can kind of hover where it says anchor and then drag it so it snaps there. And right where it says intersect is where I want it to be. If yours didn't do that, you need to open up make sure your smart guides are turned on. So now we're going to go to View Outline so we can kind of see this art in a better place. See, it says recycle it, and we need to see it better. So we're going to go up over to Flyer, and we're going to click and drag a box out right here. And we're going to take this artwork over. We're going to do Edit Copy, or Command C. We're going to go back to Card Front, which is Artboard 2. And we're going to edit Paste in Place. And this kind of places it in the place of our artboard. And I don't think I did that right. So we're going to copy that. I'm going to actually pull up Artboard 2, Edit, Paste in Place. You want to be sure you're on the artboard that you need it to be on. And we're going to arrange this over. First, we need to adjust the size of it. So we're going to take our Transform tool up, which pulls up this panel. And right here, these sort of 9 dots is relative points, and it helps us position things accurately. We're going to set it in the first column in the second row, which is here. Remember, columns are up and down, rows are left to right. And we're going to set it in the first column, second row. As you can see, that is located there. There is a picture in your textbook on page 128. I'm going to make sure this is linked. It looks like a nice strong lock. And we're going to take that width, instead of putting a sort of numeral inch value, we're just going to do 75%. Do a tab, and it's resized it and made it a little bit smaller with the grouped text. You can see the pictures on page 129. And we're just going to leave it there at the moment. Our next thing is we're going to reflect objects, which can get a little confusing. So I'm going to do a Command S to save our file as we go. So now we're going to go zoom out. And we're going to click on the bicycle on this artwork here, where I'm actually pull up GP View Preview. So in this, to the left of Flyer, there's this bicycle here. If we click on it, we can see this selection right here for the bicycle. Not the whole artwork, just the bicycle. If I just use my selection tool, click on it, it's going to take it all. What I'm going to do is a edit cut, or keyboard shortcut Command X or Control X, and it cuts it out. And we're going to go to card back, I believe. Yes, card back artboard 3. And we're just going to go to edit paste or Command V and paste it there. The artwork's a bit bigger, so we're going to rearrange the artwork where the tire's a little bit underneath, and take it and we're just going to drag it kind of nested right there. That looks like a good spot. You want to kind of match it to the picture on the textbook. And what we're going to do is another paste, but we're just going to go to edit, paste in front. So we have two pictures of the same bicycle on top. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the reflect tool, and we're going to kind of work on creating a really kind of flipped image. The reflect tool is in your tools panel. Keyboard shortcut O, if you press O on your keyboard, it changes to it. It's also going to be under the rotate and reflect, kind of nested under. We want the reflect tool because we're reflecting it. And we're going to kind of zoom in a little closer on our bicycle, and we're going to pick an anchor point on the bicycle wheel right around the center. And we're just going to kind of click, kind of where it intersects in paths. We're going to click and drop. And as you can see, I'm going to zoom in. We have sort of this aqua circle crosshair thing, and that's our anchor point. That's the point where our image is going to flip. And what we're going to do is click on our thing and move it. Take our selection tool. Let's actually go back there, selection tool, click and alright, so I'm not sure my object is placed in the correct spot, so I'm going to open up layers. We'll get into layers later, but I'm pulling up and I didn't do a paste in front. So I'm going to make sure I'm selected on artboard 3, edit, paste in front. Yes, as you can see in my layers, I have 1, 2, 3 bicycles. One bicycle, hide it, and another bicycle. It's actually moved it over here. Click over here. Make sure it is copied there. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to try to match these up. So you always want to be aware of what artboard and you're selecting, and sometimes mistakes happen, and it's totally fine. And they are matched up. And I just kind of nudged it over, made sure everything's together. Or get out of this isolation mode. Back to artboards. Click on our artwork. Take our reflect tool, keyboard shortcut O, drop our point, and we're going to move it. Now, as you can see, I'm going to command negative and zoom out, drop our anchor point, start moving it. If I hold down shift, it keeps it at 90-degree angles. And right there, we went to 90-degree, two bicycles facing each other. Cool. What we're going to do is we're going to select this bicycle, and we're going to hide it. So we're going to go to Object, Hide, Selection. We're just hiding that selection for the moment. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to reflect objects. So we're going to go to Flyer, our board 1, and we are going to zoom in this little tiny artwork here. I'm going to rotate where it says recycle it. So we're going to go to Object, Transform, Rotate, which opens up a new panel. And we can just type in an amount. This one's going to be 20%. See, it just tilts it really nice and simple, which is pretty great. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to select this object and the Children's Art Center. You can do a shift click. I prefer just to do a selection drag to make sure I get everything that I need. We're doing edit cut, Command X, cuts it out. We're going to go to envelope, artboard 4, edit, paste and place, keeps it relative, and we're going to adjust the measurements. So we're opening up our transform panel. It could be up here in your control panel, or you do have to open it. And we'll pull up transform. We're going to change the relative point. Actually, it's already sit there in that first column, second row. And we are going to change the size, the X and Y axis, where X 1/4 of an inch and the Y to 0.6. And what we're doing is we're changing the relative location of an object. The hide our control panel, and it's right there, kind of where the return address would be for an envelope, of course, because we're making an envelope. The next step is we're going to go, we're playing around with the reflect tool again, actually the rotate tool, which is hidden under the reflect tool. Ugh, it gets confusing. So we're going to go to Flyer and click on this kind of orangey, yellowy spike here. And we're going to go to the reflect tool, that's keyboard shortcut R, or it's nested right under the rotate tool, which is listed under the reflect tool. As you can see, there's already an anchor point there, but we're going to add a different one in the center of this yellow tool. And what we're going to do, I'm going to zoom out, is we're going to tilt it. We want it to be about 20 degrees, but it's going to get a little crazy. So as we move it, as you see, it's a little touchy. Do the best that you can, and we've tilted. Tilting things adds a nice different effect. And we're going to do the same thing with that same kind of color shape that we placed it on card front, about the center. See my little anchor point there. We're going to click and drag it. Make sure we are set on Art 2. We may need to select the artwork. Drop that anchor point and then drag, and about 20 degrees. As close as you can get. 23 looks like the best I can do, that's fine. This is helpful because you're setting the area where you want it to rotate from. However, it can't, the accuracy is lost there. So this is the end of video 2. We're going to go start with sort of distortion and shearing objects for the next set. So please keep watching the next set of videos. Thank you.